Hey man,
On first cut, man.
bro, this is hands down the best cut I've had.
Real. Alright, what's good, YouTube? Got GameChanger here, my boy.
J. Lou, what
Yes,
it do?
sir. We finally, first collab, man. Our first collab on YouTube. Let me zoom out, man. I think I'm too zoomed in. I'm zooming in more. Yeah, man. So this is a dope collab, man. We've been
Yeah, man.
we've been fans of each other's work for a while, man. He subscribed to me, I subscribed to him, and I love what he does, and I'm hoping the feeling's mutual, man.
Yeah,
So,
the feeling definitely mutual, man.
yeah, man. His waves are vicious, and not only that, I love the way he presents his content and he teaches, man. So I just thought it would be dope. Well, actually, it was his idea. I can't even take credit.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Yeah, no, it was his idea, bro. I can't. He thought it would be dope for the collab, and I had to agree, man. So, when was the last time you had a chop, bro?
So the last time, it's been about 2 months.
2 months.
In the waving world, we call wolfing like 2 weeks after the cut. So really, it's been 6 weeks wolfing.
Okay.
But 8 weeks total.
Okay, so now that I got you here, I've asked this question to a few other waivers, but since you're very articulate in the subject of waving, what exactly is wolfing and why is it essential and what does it help with?
Well, wolfing is a term that was created to help people understand, like, okay, after you get your hair cut, you got to go past it to get deeper and more defined waves, right?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? If you get a cut every 2 weeks, you're not going to really make the progress that you want. I don't like saying wolfing. I like typically telling people, hey, from this date, this is when I had my hair cut and this is how much hair growth I've seen.
Respect.
Because at the end of the day, it simplifies everything. Everybody's hair doesn't grow at the same rate, you know what I'm saying? And everybody got different curl patterns and stuff like that. So
definitely.
I was just like, when I saw your channel, I was like, man, this dude know what he's talking about. So I got to come down to the shop.
Appreciate that, man. Like,
not a lot of people know how to cut.
Bro drove from Houston. He drove from Houston just for the cut. So I'm definitely appreciative and honored. Like I said, I love his content. I love his work. So we about to make it happen.
Likewise.
Yeah, so you got the definition of woofing. We're going to show you guys how to cut a nice smooth woof, and hope you guys enjoy it. Make sure you go check them out, subscribe. Saying we're going to try to mix our fan base, man, and, you know, because I'm excited to have you come, bro.
Yeah, man, likewise. I know a lot of the waivers, when I said I was coming, they was excited. They was like, bro, that dude.
Yeah, I saw the comments. I was
like, in my personal opinion, when it comes to barbers, I like a natural look.
Yes.
I don't like the enhancements. I know people that like that stuff. There's no shade to people that like that.
Yeah.
But personally, for me, I just like the natural look. And when I saw your skills, I was like, yeah, man, hands down.
Appreciate it, bro. Yeah, I try to, for me, you know, like I said, I have no problem with enhancements. I even have a few clients that ask for it, but there's nothing like giving the client, you know, what they can work with when after you wash your hair, after you go run, sweat, or just be. I believe in being accepting of yourself. So we all don't have. Even Steve Harvey didn't have a Steve Harvey edge. No offense, Steve, but the truth is, you know, that's just not how it goes. You know, perfection is a word that does not exist, but it exists. If that makes sense. So we're gonna get it in. Let's get to it, bro, and let's have a good time, man. Let's get it. I know it's a big part of the process, man, taking the things off, man.
Oh man, I forgot to record.
Yeah, no, bro, I know this.
Yeah, man. And then it's like my homeboy CJ Monsoon, he make these stocking caps.
Oh yeah, that's loud.
I was like, bro, I'm from Houston, man. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so one more question.
Yeah.
Difference between stocking cap and do-rag. Is there a difference and is there a purpose for either?
Yeah, there's a purpose.
Really?
Stocking cap gives way greater. It gives greater compression. A do-rag is more so. It gives some kind of compression, but it's easier when you take the do-rag off. You get that peel back effect. With a stocking cap, when you pull it off, sometimes it can snag your hair. You know what I'm saying? So the thing I like about these are the Monsoon caps by my boy CJ Monsoon, and he basically makes it to where the material is pretty smooth. So okay,
so I put the do-rag on for the compression, so that way the stocking cap doesn't pull it, but the stocking cap gives me compression, and I put it on last.
So the do-rag makes it to where you can easily just peel it off. Okay. But it doesn't give you the greatest compression.
So I need that compression with the stocking cap.
Yeah.
All right, you're learning today.
Yeah, and I'm gonna make a video.
So, all right, man. Let's go. You wanna go on that video, bro?
So yeah, man. I'm gonna go ahead.
Let me get out the limelight. Let me go and let you do your thing. Okay. Oh yeah, all of that. I'm gonna spin you real quick. Look at that. Yes, sir. Oh yeah. Don't tilt back for me. Look at that. Bro, yo, I'm gonna tell you one thing. I'm gonna pause you right there, bro. Like I said, before you came, I studied your IG and your YouTube videos, bro. You got an epic crown, bro. You know what I'm saying? The rotation in your crown is, and I mean to the very tip of the crown, bro. I've seen some great crowns, but I'm talking about when I say to the tippity top, you know what I'm saying? It's, like, I tell my shimmer and shine, my boy. Shimmer.
Appreciate it, man.
Oh, look at that, bro. Golly. Okay, so before we start, I just want to say J. Lou also has a video on his YouTube page from the client's perspective. Great commentary. I'm going to leave the link below so you guys can go check that out. Okay, so welcome back. And in today's video, we got my boy J. Lou, aka Mr. Justintime, aka Mr. Super Waver, man. I love this guy's channel. He supports me. I love the way he articulates his thoughts, his techniques, his knowledge on waving. And I'm just great that it was just great and exciting for us to collab together on this super dope tutorial. So to get started, as you guys know, we're actually going against the grain. The first waver that actually he came in and said, let's go against the grain with a 5 on top. I try to preach going against the grain because what going against the grain actually does is it actually gives a much smoother, even haircut. There's a misconception or false information belief that if I go against the grain, I lose progress. No, if you add a bigger guard, you won't lose any progress, especially if you have well-maintained, maintenance hair. So you went against the grain with a 5, which is in turn about a 3 with the grain, give or take depending on the density, the thickness of the hair. So J. Lou has a great texture. You can tell he takes care of his hair as well. It's very clean, scalp is clean, pretty even. One thing I noticed about his hair texture is thick, but it's less dense. So I don't want to say thinner. Density is basically how much hair a person has per square inch, sir. So how much hair, if you had a little square, how many hairs can you fit in that little square? To break it down, right? Another thing, thickness of hair is how thick his hair is. The hair follicle, how thick is that hair shaft inside the hair follicle? Another quick lesson we have to do, since I get this comment, people are misinformed and they think that I'm misinformed. When I say hair cuticle, the hair has 3 layers. You have the hair cuticle, the medulla, and the cortex. The cuticle is the outermost layer of the hair. So when you do any kind of chemical processes, or whenever I use that warm rag to soften the cuticles, as you hear me say sometimes, I'm actually softening the outermost layer of their hair shaft, which is the cuticle. The hair follicle is what the hair actually lays in, which is a part of the skin itself. So I had to correct a few misinformed people in my comments, and we just had to touch bases on that. All right, so now that that's over with, what you see me doing, I have my comb with my 5, okay? So I want to make sure I'm going against the grain, and J. Lou has like I said, has a great curl pattern. I comb it every few sections just to lay their hair back down. All right, and I want to make sure I get an even stroke throughout. So I'll go over the same area, get a few repetitions of that same spot because I want to make sure it's even, and I comb it back down. I'm not brushing because I don't want to bunch that hair up in sections. I comb so that way I can space the hair out in this natural spacing, okay? You brush to kind of lay your hair down. All a wave is a laid down compressed curl, okay? So if you see right now I have a 3 on and I'm going with the grain. What I'm doing now is I'm kind of debulking and smoothing out. The cutting is pretty much done, but I want to clean up my area and make sure I give it a nice, clean, smooth look. See my waves right there? Boom! Pop, just a little bit. But no, seriously. But yeah, so I want to lay that back down. And I'm also studying this hair as I cut. I've studied his hair, I studied his page, just to see what I was working with before he came, because he drove from Houston for this cut, which I'm very honored and humbled about. All right? So one thing I noticed, if you look at the very bottom of his hair where I'm going to taper, that hair is very fluffy. Sometimes that's the hair that kind of gets left out of the do-rag. The compression cap actually lays on that section of the hair. So it's not as wavy, it's more bushy because it's more matted and laid down than the other sections. Also, the edge up, great edge up, but it's the same as the back of the hair. Very few wavers have waves from the very tip of the temple to the very bottom of the head. And it's not them, it's not a lack of knowledge or a lack of skill, it's just the way the compression cap lays, depending on the head shape and size. Okay? So I'm gonna cut a lot of that out because we're doing a low taper. He wants to keep all his progress, and as a barber cutting a waver, you don't want to cut off progress, okay? Last video, a lot of people was up my rear about it, but they didn't realize that he wanted that, okay? But in this cut, so I'm doing a taper. You see that fluff, right? Their hair is curly. It's laid up curls. It's not laid down curls. So it's less wavy and it's kind of discombobulated. So what I'm going to do is I'm studying and I'm going to take slower strokes and I'm going to watch the area as I work. Right now I'm using my Andes Masters and I'm still combing. These are my Babyliss Pro FX, right? I love these clippers. I love the pivot. I love the motor on them. And I'm keeping that taper low. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna taper one side first just to show you guys. But that bushiness, you see the wave, you look at the occipital bone. If you look, it's right above the nape of the neck, kind of where his head protrudes at, the very furthest at the bottom. What I'm gonna do is keep that taper below that. He has a lot of progression. Sometimes as a barber, when you're cutting wavers, it's very intimidating because you don't want to take off progression, but you don't want to leave it bulky. You're kind of stuck between the two. So right now I'm debulking with the 2, and it's not taking much off, but it's letting me study and learn. So you guys watch, and after I debulk, you'll watch. I'm going to use the 2 1.5, which is the 1.5, which is the white guard, and I'm going to use the 1/16. So you guys watch me work that area, and I'll be back soon. So one thing to note when you're debulking or cutting wavers is don't get intimidated. Again, a wave is a compressed, styled curl that is grouped together. That's all a wave is. It's a very maintained style. So what happens when you're cutting a wave, you're kind of interrupting that style and uniformity. So when that client goes home and style their hair, it's going to look totally different anyway. But sometimes I notice barbers get intimidated. Oh, the wave's not looking like it did when they came in. When they style, refresh their hair, it's going to be perfectly fine. You just have to make sure you do your job and do what you know you're great at. We'll just give a solid cut. Whether it's a taper, give a smooth taper with no bulk. And the waves will lay back down once they put their do-rag on, put the sauce, whatever they use for their hair, it's going to be perfectly fine, okay? So my job is to focus on the taper and not to make sure that his waves are laid down right. I need to make sure that when he styles his hair and he goes home, it's perfectly fine, okay? So that's pretty much what I'm working. And sorry about the lighting. It's going to get adjusted in a second, but I didn't realize that the light I'm still learning how to use this new spot that I'm at. So the lighting will get better soon. It's a lot of light on the back of his head, but yeah. So you guys watch me taper, and I'll be back soon. Okay, much better light. So as you can see, so right now what I'm pretty much doing is I'm taking some of that bulk out. These are still waves. I don't want to take the progress away, but I don't want it to look bulky as well. Once we get to the end of the cut, you'll see how that finished product look. It's going to look amazing. I'm debulking with the grain. I don't want to go against too much because I don't want to take away progress. But when I'm tapering right there around the ear or the back of the nape of the neck, I want to make sure that hair is laid down perfectly fine. He has a lot of baby hair on his neck. We could take it away, but we want to keep that edge up as far as possible to keep that natural line. All right, that's one thing to focus. Keep the natural line. I don't want to take that edge up too far in the back to make sure it's crispy. I just want to keep the nice, natural, neat line. Okay, so now that I have that initial fade and edge up in, what I'll do is I'll come back at the end of the cut and I'll spot check. Spot checking is when you have the initial fade in and you see little areas you want to fix. I have OCDs. There's some stuff I got to get when I see it, but for the most part, I'll come back and just check, and I'll get certain key spots. But right now, I want to get this initial fade in and do my detail work at the end. Okay, so now it's time to start on the side taper. All right, this is very important for wavers because they have a lot of progression on the side, but it's a very small space to actually taper. So the first thing I'll do is debulk, all right? Because the thinner the area, the easier to fade. Remember that. It's a slogan, or phrase to live by. Low taper, he wants a low ball taper. It's gonna make that haircut and that beard pop. Sorry about that. And I'm using my, what was those, my Slimline Pros. Now I'm using my Babyless FX, same thing as Magic Clip, to make that secondary line. All right, I feather it in. I don't want to make a hard line because I don't want to make the line too hard, because the harder the line, the more difficult it is to move up to the next level. And seeing as though he has so much progress, I don't want to take it away. All right, so I'm stretching the skin because it expands a small workspace. So when you stretch that skin, I widen my space basically. Now I'm using my 3 against the grain to debulk. All right, J. Lou has a lot of waves around his ear, has a slight thinner spot, nothing major that I want to work out, because if I fade that too high, now he has a super high taper, and we don't want that, okay? So I'm just using my 3, then I'll switch to my 2 to go against the grain, and we're just working out. We're debulking right now, all right? The thinner the area, the easier to fade. In any haircut, waver, non-waver, person who hasn't had a haircut in months, make the area thin. Now I'm using my 1 to thin it up. I'll come back with my 1 or my masters with no guard, and we'll take it out that way. It's all about technique. You work down. Start with your biggest guard, and then boom, 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 boom. Steps after that. All right, so now I have no guard on my masters, and I'm basically just fading the area in that I was working with. If you look from the top of the ear to the top of the temple, where his edge up at the top of his head curves, you see that bulky area right there. What I'm going to do is actually take my 1.5 with the grain and just knock that bulk out. It's very simple. Like I said, waves are just clumpy curls. So what happens is sometimes some waves clump thicker in certain areas. So that's why cutting wavers sometimes can be a science, but you can't let it intimidate you. You know, if you have a barber license, if you've been to school for this, you've done this. Intimidation sometimes is what ruins people. So you can't be scared of anything. All right. So as you can see right here, I comb it, and all I'm doing right here is just smoothing it out. Boom, right there. All right. Okay, so with the edge up, my shoulder is kind of in the middle of the foot of the shoulder. It's gonna get real dark. Other side you can see it much better, but I still have to put both sides on there. I'm studying to see how, because he wants to keep it natural. That was one thing he was big on, just keep his edge up natural. So I didn't take too much off. I'm so sorry about this. I'm gonna try to zoom in so you guys can see it better. And I use the edge of I'm stretching the skin down, right? Make my workspace bigger. And I'm using the tip of that blade to make a circular motion. I come at an angle. It's all about the wrist. I'm so sorry about my shoulder, y'all, but it's about to come back in. I just didn't want to delete any footage. I want you guys to see everything. All right? So the other side, so you can see it much, much better. And at the very end of the cut, you can kind of see what I did. I'm just kind of walking you through my technique. Use the corner of that blade, stretch the skin. Put the thumb on the top of the tip of the eyebrow. Stretch your palm on the top of the head and stretch your workspace, okay? Kind of makes it much easier. As you can see right there, smooth. And then if I see any imperfections in the cut that I want to, if I see any imperfections in the cut that I would like to fix, I'll go back and take care of that after we're done. So now I'm stretching the skin the opposite way. And I'm just keeping it natural. Like I said, sometimes it's not about crispy, it's about smooth. Because once he lays his hair down and get it right, it's going to look great anyway. So now it's time for the other side. Yeah, this side you can see much better. So same thing, use the comb. This time I'm not using the blade handle because I'm right-handed and I'm stronger with this side. I like to make, it's easier to make the curve with a bendable blade, the double edged blades. I just stretch the skin, follow the natural C cup. You don't have to go in. Keep that thing natural, keep it smooth and keep it moving. It's copacetic, baby, you know what I'm saying? and just stretch, and just work. Technique, it's all about technique. All right, the white powder in my hand is the talcum powder when I was dusting them off. All righty? All right, see y'all soon. Okay, so the last time J. Lou got a haircut, his beard got taken a little bit lower than he would like. So what I'm going to do is, he said he understands it'll be a little lighter. I'm going to keep that line high. Faded the beard in slightly. He wanted to keep a lot of his beard. So I comb it thoroughly, lay those hairs down, I put my shaving gel on, and I'll just edge the beard up and keep it high. My elbow's all in the footage. I apologize, but you guys are going to see me work that blade in just a little bit. But just keep it nice and natural and high. I stretch the skin, I comb, because I don't want the misconception of hair being there when it's really just the excess hair. And I clean those cheeks off. It's a form of like microdermabrasion. It's a little bit of hair, but I'm cleaning the dead skin off as well. Okay? It's all about cleanliness. You will not believe how smooth the hair look once you take that top layer of dead skin off. Okay? Alright, so, and I'm just cleaning the beard up. Right there. Okay, so I'm pretty much done with the fade. If you look, you'll see like those little light patches. So what it is, his waves are curled up. You know, once you haven't had a haircut for about a month or two, your waves curl up when you cut them down. So once you let his do-rag on, get fresh, everything will be perfect. But yeah, man, I think this cut came out great. He looks good, man. It was great having him there. I appreciate him. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you go subscribe to his channel, Justintime. And I want you guys to listen to his reaction when he saw the haircut. All right, GameChanger out.
Yeah, man. Hey, man. Bro, this is hands down the best cut I've had.